everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing another project analysis series and we are going to talk about SORA. Don't forget to actually join my Telegram channel because that's where you can get the latest updates in terms of the projects, and if there is any discounts or new prices in terms of any projects in Singapore as well, this is where I will give you an update. So SORA is located in Jurong, particularly in the lakeside area. It consists of mainly 440 units ranging from 1 all the way to 5 bedrooms. The earliest TOP date on paper is actually in October 2028, and usually if let's say all goes well, chances are sometimes it might complete maybe 6 months to 1 year earlier, depending on how fast the construction will be. SORA is actually located in this area. I can zoom in a bit just for you to see. In this area, okay, it's actually an en bloc project, alright. Right now it's newly completed, and most of the units here would have a very good view of the lake facing. Later I'll actually run through with you. Just to let you know, over about 76% of the units do face the lake, alright. Where is actually the lake facing? It's actually over here. Easier for you to remember is where the pool is will be the nearest to the lake, alright. And based on the units types itself, okay, the smaller units like the 1-2 bedrooms will be the ones that will be facing the HDB facing. Okay, most of the units here, mainly from 2+ study all the way to 5 bedrooms, will have a lake view. But of course, later on I'll talk a little bit more based on which other units will have the full lake view and which are the ones that might be a little bit restricted in terms of the view itself. Moving on to the specific unit mix, okay, you can see that there is a range from 1+ study all the way to 5 bedroom. We want to look at is which are the unit types that has the lesser units. The first one is the 1 bedroom plus study with 36 units, followed by the 4 bedroom and 5 bedroom with 18 units each. Moving on to the 1+ study, which accounts to 36 units, about 8% of the whole SORA unit type. There is only one layout for the 1 bedroom, and this size at 538 square feet belong to one of the bigger unit, 1 bedroom unit for in terms of the average 1 bedrooms in the market right now. Why do I say that? Because 1 bedroom usually works out to be about 441 square feet to 463 square feet in today's new launch market. But for this 1 bedroom plus study in SORA, it is actually 538 square feet. So in terms of that, I'm actually going to weigh out the pros and cons in the next few slides. But first, let us look at the stacks of this 1+ study. Where is it located at? Mainly it is at stack 13 and stack 28. So stack 13, stack 28 both have the same, almost the same facing, which is facing Yuan Ching Road. So there is two different kinds of 1 bedroom layout in today's market, and this unit type, this floor plan is actually a little bit more special. Why? Just want to show you, this is floor plan 1 and this is floor plan 2. What I mean by the study actually gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of the layout. You can see that the study over here, is separated by the master bath. So what does it mean? It means that today if you want to use this space, you can only use this space for a study area. But whereas for this floor plan for SORA, okay, this is our floor plan, this is SORA's floor plan. Okay, you can see that the moment this study is actually merged into the master bedroom is a little bit different. Why? Because this study, you can actually the first configuration is you can build either sliding glass panel or a bifold door, okay, which can actually give you a separate study on its own. In this way, okay, there is actually two different types of configuration in terms of this layout. And why is it important for us to know this? Because right, when there is two different kinds of configuration, this is where it can appeal to two different groups of buyers, right? The first group of buyers is of course those kind of buyers that are looking for a study. Okay, this area they can easily section it off. The second group of buyer is they actually still prefer a very big master bedroom. So this is where they can actually still maintain this area, okay, as their own study area, or even be able to put in more carpentry so that they have more storage, or even a dressing table or reading corner. By having a more flexible layout, this also helps to appeal to more groups of buyers in terms of the resale market if you are going to sell in the future. But of course, for one bedroom plus study, who does it usually appeal to? It is the investors, right? So the next thing we want to look at is in terms of the purchase price and especially the rental yield. Will it make sense or not? So just now I actually voiced out this potential concern. Why? Because today's one bedroom, right, easily is about 400 plus square feet. Okay, and our one bedroom today, it is actually one plus study, it is actually 500 plus square feet, 538 square feet. Okay, this could be a potential setback. Why? Just imagine, alright? Both units are 2,000 per square foot. So if I were to use a 440 square feet for easy reference, is $880,000 versus, for example, today's SORA based on 538 square feet, 2,000 per square foot, it is 1.76 million. Alright, you can see there's a price gap of close to 200,000, right? There's a price gap of $196,000. So in terms of that, right, when we are going to sell in the future resale market, right, is it going to be something that will affect you or not? So for us to find out whether having this premium for a one plus study is actually worth it or not, I actually did my research in terms of using a case study of a nearby project to determine this. So this is actually Lake Grande, okay? There is two different unit types for the one bedroom in that project itself. The first is the one bedroom and second is the one plus study. So you can see over here, right? Just want to show you. Okay, the one bedroom sizes range from 409. Hope you can see. 409 and 474 square feet. So the average rental, as you can see, is $3,300. Okay, and whereas for the one plus study, this is wrong. This should be 517 square feet. Okay, the average rental is. So for us to find out whether having this premium for a one plus study is actually worth it or not, I actually did my research in terms of using a case study of a nearby project to determine this. So this is actually Lake Grande, okay? There is two different unit types for the one bedroom in that project itself. The first is the one bedroom and second is the one plus study. So you can see over here, right? Just want to show you. Okay, the one bedroom sizes range from 409. Hope you can see. 409 and 474 square feet. So the average rental, as you can see, is $3,300. Okay, and whereas for the one plus study, this is wrong. This should be 517 square feet. Okay, the average rental is about $3,500. Okay, so I give you an example based on this. Because there is a difference in the size to be 100 square feet difference. So obviously for those that have purchased in the one bedroom or one plus study, right, you can see that there is a difference of about 100 square feet. So if I were to take a difference of 100 square feet multiplied by their average per square foot, which should be about 1,600 to 1,700 per square foot, right? The overall quantum works out to be $160,000, okay, for the purchase price. But you see, even though there's a difference in the purchase price of about $160,000, the average rental, let me use a different color, the average rental is actually not very much different, which is about $200 per month. So just imagine if you were to pay a premium of $160,000, you collect a rental of $200 more. Actually, you will need I think if you work out simple math, you will need about 800 months to cover the premium paid. So for me, based on my perspective, I feel that if today you want to buy one plus study just solely for rental, right, then it maybe might not make a lot of sense. Because why? The premium that you are going to pay, especially in SORA itself, per square foot, about 2,000 per square foot, right, multiply by 538 square feet, you have about a $200,000 price gap as compared to any one bedroom for sale in the new launch market. So this is where I would see that there is a potential setback. But just like any property, there will always be a solution, right? So what is that solution that I feel is something that you can adopt? Okay, the first thing we want to do is, right, because of the premium that we are going to pay, we are going to try to, as much as possible, increase our rental yield. So how do we do that? How do we actually increase the rental yield if it's just a 1 plus study? Here is something that I propose that it could be done. Okay, so because of this layout, right, this layout can actually potentially be configured into another layout to maximize your rental yield. How do we actually do that? So first, we can see that over here is a 1 bedroom. Let me use a highlighter. Okay, this by itself is a 1 bedroom. Okay, the second proposed second bedroom that you can do is actually over here. Okay, and you won't actually shortchange these two tenants. Why? Because the balcony is actually accessible by both sides. So there is a door over here, and there is a door actually over here as well. So the bathroom is also actually outside the master bedroom. So that will mean that what? That both of these tenants can actually have equal access to the master bathroom. Of course, by doing this, right, it would definitely compromise in terms of your living space. But for a 2-bed 1-bath tenant group, right, actually they don't pay so much in terms of the kitchen area and the dining area. So that is why I feel that if, let's say, based on today's market, the 2-bedroom, for example, can fetch you, 2-bed 1-bath can actually fetch you about 4,500 to 4,800, for example. If you charge a little bit lesser, you will still have a tenant pool will be attracted to your unit, because there's not too much of a difference in terms of the whole space, you see. So this living room, right, you see, you can still be able to fit in a queen size bed, okay, and a small wardrobe over here, okay, and you can do a door over here. So this can actually be able to help you to maximize in terms of rental yield. Because why? If today, based on a 1 plus study, right, your average rental is 3,500. Okay, but for a 2-bedroom compact, okay, now you can see that the average rental has increased to approximately $4,200 based on the surrounding projects transactions as well. So going back to what I was mentioning earlier, when our layout actually appeals to more different people, then this is where there's a higher chance for us to help in terms of our resale prices as well. So this floor plan itself, right, apart from it being able to appeal to singles who actually want to keep this floor plan for their own stay, right, the second thing is, if let's say today you want to buy this unit, 1 bedroom for own stay, the next time you want to sell or you want to maximize your profits, right, the second thing you can do is you actually can rent out, and this will be your second possible option in terms of increasing your rental yield. You can do from 1 plus study, convert into a 2-bed 1 bath. So rental can increase easily to $3,500 to $4,200. Okay, but please don't use this unit type and then say that, oh, if I see this unit type in any new launch project or any resale property today in today's market, then this is something that you can definitely do. Because why? It doesn't apply to everything. So please do not quote that, hey, Vivian said that can do this, that's why it can increase my resale value. No, because the amount of homework that you have to do in order to determine this is actually a lot more. What do I mean by that? So this kind of method that we are using is called leveraging on the developer's unit mix. What do I mean by that? Why do I say that in SORA this way of reconfiguring the floor plan is actually possible? It's because based on the 1 bedroom plus study, okay, this is actually the smallest layout, 1 plus study. But can you see that the next unit type is actually a much bigger unit type, which is the 2 bed 1 bath. So the 2 bed 1 bath is actually about 646 square feet. Okay, 646 square feet. Okay, and this is 538 square feet. So notice over here that there is actually no 2 bed 1 bath, which is where the first thing you have to take note when you want to do something like this is, the first thing you have to take note is there is no such unit type in the development itself. So please do not use this method to go into a development whereby there's a lot of 2 bed 1 bath. That cannot work for you because there are already a lot of units that are of the similar layout that works like this. Alright, so this method will not work, just take note. The second thing you also want to take note, apart from just monitoring the unit mix in the development itself, is you have to look at the surrounding project. In this case, right, when we want to look at this, right, take for example, why I say that this is something you can possibly do to convert into a 2 bed compact is because in Lake Garden itself, the smallest 2 bed 1 bath is actually 592 square feet. Okay, don't forget that our unit type is 538 square feet. So this is a size difference of close to 66 square feet. 66 square feet, although we see that it is actually not much, but if you multiply by, let's say, 2,000 square feet, right, it is easily about 120,000 already. In terms of the overall property price. So this actually forms what? This actually forms a very sweet spot for those future buyers who actually wants to own a 2 bed 1 bath but yet have a budget constraint in terms of going into a 2 bed 1 bath. Then they can use your unit, look at your unit to reconfigure it and collect very similar rental to a 2 bed 1 bath. Alright, so in this way, I feel that this will be one of the best solution to help you to increase your profits first, and second is in terms of your rental yield as well. Just now we are talking about rental. The next thing we want to talk about is in terms of prices. How is it going to protect you if you are looking at a 1 bedroom today? So the first thing we want to look at is definitely the supply. As you all know, right, property prices, it actually is very big determining factor would be the supply and demand. Supply, if there is a lot, then of course it might not be so good in terms of the prices, and vice versa, right? So in terms of District 22, there are a total of 553 units approximately that are in this whole area. So if we were to break it down, right, first is the 1 bedroom, there are about 460 units, and for the 1 plus study, there is about 93 units. The most important thing is there is supply. But how is the market reacting to the supply in this area? What do I mean by that? So you can see overall there are 553 units over here that is available in the entire District 22. But in the current market, okay, at this point of filming, there are only 22 units for sale, which are about 4%. 4%. Okay, so if we were to break it down, 15 units, 3% belongs to the 1 bedroom and 1 plus study. Why is it important for us to know the number of units for sale whenever we want to buy a property? This actually, right, is the main determining factor to help us be able to roughly know how is the demand in this area itself. Okay, so based on so many units, there are only 22 units for sale, right? The first thing that we can see over here is the owners over here. A lot of them are actually holding on to the 1 bedrooms here. I think the first thing is the turnover rate is very quick. The second is, right, is actually able to command a higher rental rate as compared to other areas as well. So when there are so little units for sale, this is also a key determining factor to tell us that what? Because the rental is good, then not so many owners are that willing to sell their units, correct or not? So to put this into perspective, right, how many units are available for sale, right? I'm just going to show you the nearby district, which is down just up the road in District 21, okay, which is in the Beauty World area. So in the Beauty World area, okay, in District 21, there are a total of 966 units, okay, but you can see over here that the estimated number of units for sale is 102 units, which works out to be 11%. 11% as compared to the Jurong, the District 22, which is this size, compared to this size, is actually very, very significant. Okay, because why? Over here you see, you'll be able to compare very clearly. Just now in District 22, there are only 4% for sale. But in District 22, right, there are 11%. There are two things that can tell us when we want to observe based on the demand in this area. The first thing is actually a lot of owners are actually trying to sell right now. The second thing is maybe because there are too many number of units, that's why it's taking quite a longer time to sell. And 1 bedroom usually appeal to investors. So investors definitely do take a lot of notice in terms of the numbers. So possibly from here, the rental might not be able to account too much in terms of the purchase price as well. So these are the few things, right, that can show us what? There is high supply in this area. Okay, definitely much higher supply than the demand. If we were to compare side by side, right, what it means to you is this. You see over here, Jurong itself is actually much bigger in terms of the size. Of course, it's not all the area. Jurong, I think it's about like that. Okay, and Beauty World area is much smaller. You can see over here in terms of the units, right, there is a very clear difference in terms of the number of units available for sale. So just now I actually touched on in terms of rental yield, how can you maximize your rental. But the next important thing that we want to look at, especially for a 1 bedroom, is the pricing. Today, because SORA is actually a launch that has not been that has not started in terms of selling. So one of the things that we want to look at is in terms of the pricing, right? Whenever we go to a project that has been newly launched, the first thing we want to go through, the first thing we will go through is balloting. So as you all know, balloting is actually one of the more chaotic thing that is going to happen. You will be in a snake queue, you will be actually asked which units are the units that you want to go for, and as you are queuing, just imagine that more and more of your units are being taken up. And the last thing we want to encounter is what? First is we do not know what is the unit that we actually want to go for that is considered safe. So this will actually cause us to miss out on units that actually have a very good entry price, right? The second thing that might happen is worse, because just because you do not know what is a safe entry price to go for, then you end up overpaying for a property, and this is actually going to be a very expensive mistake, which is why right now I'm actually going to run through, right, in terms of balloting, how are you actually going to have to protect yourself in terms of balloting, especially if you have an agent beside you. This is something that you also want to take note of so that you can take care of your purchase as well. Okay, so I think a very good thing about this project SORA is because we are right beside Lake Garden, and Lake Garden is actually in a certain way, even though the facade is completely different, the layout, the unit type is very different, but it is actually right beside this project. So the facing of these projects, right, are very similar. They have first the lake facing, okay, and second is the Yuanqing Road facing, which is the HDB facing. So using this, right, I'm actually going to share with you how do you actually want to protect yourself when you want to go for balloting. So the first thing first, just want you to take note is, of course, this is based on Lake Garden's pricing strategy. At the point of balloting, maybe the developer for SORA might not use this particular pricing strategy as well. So how are you actually going to determine this? You have got to be able to really understand how developers will price the units. And I'm going to try my best, right, to explain to you how are you going to do that. So it would be good for you if right now you can actually get a pen and paper and try to write down how do you actually calculate this. Okay, the first way of how developers will price it is they will try to price the low floors lower. So this is the most typical way of pricing a unit. Moreover, for SORA itself, right, SORA's one bedroom has the same facing as the Lake Garden one bedroom facing, which is the HDB facing. So these units will in a way be very similar if, let's say, developers are using this strategy to price the units, right. Then this way is something that you will be able to use and calculate for yourself to determine whether it's safe or not. The first thing we want to look at is this. If based on level 2 to level 10 and based on level 10 to level 17. So why do we actually want to do that? Because developers have different way of pricing their units. The first way is, of course, every floor level they will increase by a bit, let's say $10,000. Okay, the second way is, right, they might do a floor jump. What does a floor jump mean? It means that from level 2 to level 9, for example, from level 2 to level 9, every floor is $10,000. Then subsequently on level 10, there is a price jump of $30,000. So this is where during balloting, right, you will have to be able to work out very quickly what is the price gap in between for every floor level. Why? Because based on this, right, you'll be able to determine what is a premium that you that will make it worth it to pay for. Take for example, if today, if you are looking at SORA, the developer actually priced every unit at 10,000. At 10,000 every floor jump. Then probably you might just go for something that is of a little bit more higher. Okay, maybe if you prefer something that is for own stay, for example, then staying at level 10, level 11, level 12 is a mid floor level that you might want to go for. But let's say, for example, if you're looking for a rental unit and you actually want to maximize your rental that you're going to collect, right, then you got to be careful of this pricing strategy. If let's say right now level 2 to level 9 is $10,000 every floor level and level 10 is $30,000, then this is where which unit should you choose even if you want a higher floor? It's level 9 lor, right? Because after that you jump by another $30,000. So that is why I would say that you definitely need to take note of this. In terms of this pricing strategy, then I would advise all of my clients to not take something that is of a very high level, because if you were to jump like that, every floor level, if you go by until level 15 or level 20, that is as good as about 150 to $200,000 already. So that is something that we actually want to avoid. Okay, so now we want to take a look at Lake Garden by itself. Lake Garden by itself, you can see that from level 2 to level 10, there is a price gap of about $100,000. Okay, this works out to be about should be about 12,500 per floor jump. Okay, then we work out to level 10 to level 13. Okay, the price gap is about 12,000, because it's about 80,000 over here. Okay, level 10 to level 17. So what it means to you is this. What it means to you is this. If today, let's say you're looking for, let's say the SORA, the developer for SORA actually price the units in this way, right? You can definitely look at something that is about level 10 and below. Why? Because, right, even though the price range for the different unit for per floor level is about 12,000, but if you go from level 2 to level 17, you can see that the price jump is as good as $200,000. So this is very, very high. Why do I say that? If let's say you are buying this 1 bedroom plus study, just imagine your rental is about 3,200 for the second floor. You cannot expect your unit to command $4,500 per month just because you are on a much higher floor with the same layout. The most that you can be able to command is about $3,400, which is about there. So this difference of $200, right, it might not really make sense in terms of this premium that you're going to pay. I don't know how many months you're going to rent out extra, right, in order to recoup this premium pay. Yeah, so that is why if let's say, in my opinion, for a 1 bedroom in SORA, right, if the developer is following this particular pricing strategy to price the units right, then try to go as low as possible. Moving along, let us look at the 2 bedroom analysis. So for the 2 bedrooms, there are a total of 2 different unit types. The first will be the typical 2 bedroom and second will be the 2 plus study. So let us first look at the 2 bedroom first. There are a total of 60 units, which works out to be about 13% of the whole SORA's unit mix. 2 different layouts over here. First, we have the B1 floor plan and the next will be the B2 floor plan. So B1 is actually 646 square feet. It is actually a dumbbell layout. Usually for people who are I would say for this floor plan, there will be people who like this floor plan and there will also be people who do not really prefer this floor plan. Why? Because this is a dumbbell layout, so you can see that there is no wasted walkway along the corridors. There's not even a corridor over here, right? However, the downside about this kind of floor plan is it actually has a much lesser privacy as compared to the B2 layout where it is a traditional layout. What do we mean by that? That means, right, all the bedrooms are tucked on one side of the house. So this actually gives a little bit more privacy, especially when guests will come in, they sit at your living dining area, you still have some certain space and distance to your bedrooms. For the floor plans for the 2 bedrooms, right, one of the things that I really like is the first thing when we are walking in, okay, you will be able to see a window at the kitchen area. Okay, same thing goes for the B2, window at the kitchen area, which is very, very rare in today's context because usually the kitchens will be a little bit dark when it comes to the 2 bedroom in today's context. Okay, moving along, right, you will also be able to see that for the B1 layout, okay, there is a window at the master bathroom. Okay, whereas for the B2 layout, okay, both bathrooms will have their own individual windows as well. So I've served a lot of resale buyers in today's market, right? And one of the things that nowadays buyers are getting more and more particular is windows in their bathrooms, because for livability, right, technically speaking, having a window will help you to reduce the mold, the moist in the bathroom as well. Okay, so I would say that generally for the 2 bedrooms in SORA, right, it has one of the more nicer layout in terms of layout and also in terms of functionality. So let us talk a little bit more based on the facing as well. Okay, for the B1 layout 646, it actually is on stack 6 and stack 7. So both actually faces Yuanqing Road, which is actually the HDB facing, just to remind you a little bit. And then for B2, it actually faces it is actually on stack 20 and stack 21. If you ask me if I have a preference between the type B1 or the B2 floor plan, I would say that I will have a preference to the B2 floor plan. B1 floor plan will tend to be for those who want to maximize your rental yield. B2 will be more towards people who wants to buy this unit for their own stay, okay? Rentability, of course, because the size of the unit is actually about 20 square feet difference. So in terms of quantum wise, B1 will have a higher rental yield. But if you ask me which do I prefer, right, I will actually have a preference to B2. Why? Because B2, right, will actually appeal to two different types of buyer. First will be the own stay buyer. And second, because the square footage between the type B1 and B2 is only about 20 square feet. So I would say that if we multiply by about 2,000 per square foot, that would be about $40,000, which I feel is not too much of a quantum jump. And if let's say you have a choice during balloting to choose between B1 and B2, the price jump is not too much, it's about 40,000, then please just go for B2, because first you will appeal to two different groups of buyers, and that will actually in exchange help you in terms of your resale price, because there will be more demand for unit types like this. Alright, 2 plus study, right, it actually has a lot more units, as you can see, as compared to the 2 bedrooms. The 2 plus study comprise of 138 units, which makes up to about 30% of the unit mix. So I would say that today, if you want to pick a 2 plus study, you really have to be a little bit more careful. Why careful? Because you have a lot more choices to actually look at and consider. So for the 2 plus study, in general, they all face the lake facing. I actually highlighted all of them in green. So 2 different unit types for the 2 plus study. They are both 732 square feet. Okay, but there is 2 different unit types. The first will be B3 and second is B4, which is on my right. The downside is the bathrooms do not have their individual windows, unlike the 2 bedroom where, you know, at least the master bathroom will have its window. So the second thing we want to look at is the master bedroom. Okay, master bedroom, you can see the size is actually 16 square meters. Just based on perspective, right? Today, if you are looking at any new launch project, their average size of a master bedroom is about 12 to 13 square meters, even for a 3 bedroom compact. So in order for you to find a master bedroom that is about 16 square meters, it is actually very, very rare. In fact, for a 2 plus study to have this size, do you know this 16 square meters in terms of the master bedroom is actually the same size as, later you'll see, the bigger units in SORA. So all the 3, 4, 5 bedrooms, the master bedroom, right, actually is about 15 all the way to, I think, bigger 17 square meters. So you can see they are all about the same. So for SORA, the developer were to give a 16 square meters in terms of the master bedroom. I feel that it's also a very, very luxurious feeling. But of course, one of the things why the master bathroom has this kind of size is because they merged the study to the master bedroom. So very similar to what we have discussed earlier in the video on how you can configure the 1 plus study, right? The 2 plus study actually acts as the same way. Just for those of you who probably actually do a timestamp and fast forward to the 2 bedroom, what a 2 plus study over here you can do is, because of how the developers configured this study into the master bedroom and not separate it between a bathroom, for example here, okay, one of the things that you can do is there is flexibility in terms of the layout. Okay, the first way is of course to leave it as it is, okay, to have a bigger master bedroom as a whole. Just like how I was talking about in terms of the 1 plus study, what you can actually do in terms of the study area over here, okay, is there are 2 different ways. The first is of course to build a bifoldable door, just like what I mentioned earlier, okay, so that this door is actually going to condone this whole area, and if your spouse or your partner is working and do not want to disturb you, then this whole area can be actually a separated area okay, as a study. But for those of you who actually prefer a bigger master bedroom, right, this area will make as a very, very spacious master bedroom. And the most important thing, the most important thing is, if you were to section this study area away, right, your partner actually don't have to open the door over here to cross over the master bedroom to go to the living area. That can disturb you, right? So this balcony, right, actually has a dual access from the study area as well to go out from the balcony on this side. Okay, so if I were to compare the floor plan between B3S and B4S, right, the other main difference that we can see over here is actually the balcony area. Okay, because the 2 plus study all faces the lake view. So one of the things that will be a little bit different is what? Based on B3S, you can see that the balcony is actually a full height sliding panel. But however, for the B4S, you can see over here, let me just do a highlight for you, there is a AC latch over here. So when it comes to a lake view facing, when there is an AC latch, right, what does it mean? This AC latch will most likely be a half wall. Okay, a half wall, meaning which if you were to stand here versus here, okay, your view will sort of not be a full view as compared to over here, just because this is actually a half wall. So if you were to ask me that if I have a preference as compared to B3S and B4, I would of course first choose the B3S first. Frankly speaking, every time my clients will always ask me, does it make more sense for them to actually buy a 2-bedroom, or is it more sensible for them to buy a 2 plus study if today they are going to rent? Especially for SORA itself, right? The 2-bedroom is actually facing the Yuanqing Road versus the 2 plus study is facing the lake view. So there might be some of you who also will have the same concern as my client, right? Who will ask me the same thing. Hey Vivian, if today I buy a 2-bedroom facing the road versus I buy a 2 plus study facing the lake view, does it also mean that I can command a much higher rental or not? I'm going to compare the surrounding projects, 2 case studies, which will actually show you what is actually happening between the 2-bedroom and 2 plus study in this area, in District 22. So one of the things that we can do, I actually did up a very thorough research and pull out 2 case studies to actually show you the differences in terms of the rental for the 2-bedroom versus the 2 plus study. Okay, so the first one we want to look at is actually the 2-bedroom. Okay, the 2-bedroom is actually 721 square feet. I'm not so sure the screen can see or not, but based on 721 square feet, right, the average rental works out to be about $4,720. The next for the 2-bedroom plus study, okay, and take note, this study is actually an actual study, okay, it's not a study corner. So 818 square feet, the average rental is $4,800. So what can we see from here? We can see that over here for 2-bedroom plus 2 plus study, right, the price difference for this is only about $80 per month. Actually, if you base on $80 per month, right, this is not so much significant as compared to today if based on your purchase price. Just imagine today 720 square feet versus 818 square feet. That's a difference of about 97 square feet. And in terms of 97 square feet, right, if we work out based on 2,000 per square foot, for SORA, for example, the 2-bedroom versus 2 plus study easily will work out to be about 194,000. So in order for us to have that 194,000, right, and your rental to want to command that kind of premium, I think is actually not very easy for you to recoup the premium paid. So I would feel that based on this first case study, it actually is not so advisable for you to go to a 2 plus study just to earn that extra rental. Okay, next case study, very similar, also Caspian. Okay, Caspian belongs to, they also have 2 different layouts, 2-bedroom, 2 plus study. This study can also fit in a bed. Okay, a very good size 2 plus study. Yeah. But you can see over here that based on the rental wise, for the two bedroom, rental is about $4,600. And based on the 2 plus study, 1,000 square feet, $4,700. So similarly, based on this, you can see that there is a size difference of about close to 70 plus square feet. So based on 70 plus square feet, you are only collecting $100 extra in terms of the rental. So I think the key takeaway based on these two case studies is I would feel that it is not advisable for you to buy a 2 plus study just based on rental, especially because SORA's per square foot is about 2,000 plus or 2,000 plus per square foot, right? If you are looking for these to maximize your rental based on 100 square feet difference, that is about $200,000. So $200,000 to collect that $300 extra in terms of your rental, I feel that it is not so worth it lah. Just now we talk about rental, right, as an investor. Investors, there are two different strategies, right? The first is based on rental strategy. The second would be based on capital appreciation strategy. So if let's say rental 2 plus study don't really make sense, right? But does it really mean that 2 plus study cannot buy? First case study is just like what we have used earlier, Lake Grand, 2 bedroom versus 2 plus study, okay? You can see over here that the average profits is $255,000, and for the 2 bedroom plus study is $294,000. So you can see clearly over here that 2 bedroom plus study generally do still command a higher profit as compared to the other. Caspian is also another project which we have used just now for the rental basis. Okay, so Caspian is a very old project. In fact, the project actually started selling in 2009. So the profits actually was very big. There was the highest ranging from $500,000 to $600,000. But just for this research sake, right, I did a very average profits from the start until right now. So of course, based on different property cycle, there are different profits lah. But the average profits, right, based on the 2 bedroom versus the 2 plus study is $260,000 versus $288,000. Over here, based on these two case studies, you can already see that the 2 plus study generally do actually command a higher profit. Of course, right now over here we see that it's a very minor price gap. But do not forget that last time Caspian owners actually bought this unit at about $600 per square foot. So the price difference from 2009 versus now is actually very significant, right? Last time is 600, today is 2,000 per square foot. Okay, so the key thing we want to see over here is 2 plus study actually do tend to be more profitable. So just to sum it up, if today you are looking at a 2 bedroom, just want to maximize your rental yield, then I would say the 2 bedroom is something you can go for. In terms of capital appreciation, if you want to go for a capital appreciation, then 2 plus study, depending on what facing, which I will be going through shortly, will be something that you can look out for. So as I mentioned earlier, for the 2 plus study, there is actually a lot more homework that you have to do. Why? Because there are 138 units and many different facings. So definitely out of these 138 units, there will be some units that will be priced better than the others. So how do you actually spot units like this? This is something that I will want to run through now. Okay, but of course, if you are not so sure about what I'm trying to explain later on, reach out to me and I will be able to provide you with your advice, especially in terms of before you go balloting, right? You definitely need to be very clear in terms of what type of entry price you can go in for a 2 bedroom plus study and a 2 bedroom. Okay, based on a 2 bedroom pricing strategy, of course we have the luxury to use Lake Garden Residence as reference also. Just for a quick recap, is because this project is right beside us and they also have 2 different facings. The first will be Yuan Ching Road facing and second will be the lake facing. So very similar to how SORA is, even though the infrastructure might be very different. Okay, so there are two different things that we want to look at. The first will be based on the HDB facing versus the lake facing. Why do I actually want to use a HDB facing and lake facing, right? It's only because there is a difference of how the developers price each unit. So today, if you are going into balloting and you are able to spot and notice that SORA follows the same strategy as how Lake Garden is, then this video is going to be something that will help you a lot, because this will help you to decide better. The first thing we want to look at is based on the 2 and 4 bedroom. We compare level to level, which is the second floor, then the 10th floor, then the 17th floor. Okay, so first thing we want to look at is on the second floor, 0204, which is 1928 per square foot. You can see over here, developers actually price the big unit and small units very differently. Okay, HDB facing, the 2 bedrooms are starting from 1,900 per square foot, whereas for the 4 bedrooms are actually asking for 2,001 per square foot. So between these to this, there is a price gap of about 9%. So I think it is only in SORA that you can find that the smaller units have a lower per square foot as compared to a big unit. Why? Because usually if you were to look around based on any new launch development, based on a normal setting, a smaller unit will always have a much higher per square foot as compared to a big unit. Sometimes the difference is as good as about 200 per square foot. But for Lake Garden's pricing strategy is a little bit different. I hope that in order to help you, I hope that the developer for SORA will do the same thing, okay? So that, you know, in balloting, you will make a more informed decision, okay? So the first thing you look at is the second floor, okay? 1928 to 2109, price gap is 9%. So there is a very big price gap in terms of the lower floor itself. So if let's say today I were to say that today the pricing is at 1,009, which is 9% cheaper than the second floor 2,001 per square foot, then it is something that I can actually go for, because the price gap is very wide. Okay, so next example I show you is level 10. So level 10 is 2,094 per square foot, whereas for the 4 bedroom, okay, is 2,171 per square foot. The price gap between level 10 to level 10 is 3.7%. Okay, and then next one for level 17, price gap between the HDB facing versus the lake facing is 5.1%. So you can see over here, based on the 4 bedroom by itself, okay, the lower floor actually do not have much of a price jump, but after 10th floor onwards, right, the price actually jumped very quickly high, I think about $30,000 to $40,000 per floor level. Okay, but if we want to just focus on the 2 bedrooms, right, you can see that the developers actually did not price the units very much in terms of the price jump, because the HDB facing. So if you were to ask me today based on 2 bedroom HDB facing, right, just pick a lower floor, don't have to be too high up. Okay, sometimes if we feel that the price jump between each floor is about 12,000, right, it's not much, then we pick a higher floor. Actually from second floor to 17th floor, the price gap is easily $230,000 difference. So I would say that you can pick something that is between the low to mid level units. Okay, how do we determine the price gap between this small unit and big unit? It makes sense or not is if now the price gap is 9%, for example, right, it would be better if the price gap is actually 7 to 8%. I think that is something that you can still look at, because that will determine that the price gap is very wide. But however, you slowly progress to a unit price gap that, for example, is about 3% price gap. Okay, then this is when you can start to actually look at the 2 plus study, for example, to a bigger unit. But with that being said, this is just how I see it based on Lake Garden. Of course, on the day of balloting itself, the pricing for the developers can be very, very different. So this is one of the pricing strategy that we are just talking about. So next, because the 2-bedroom versus the 2 plus study has very, very different views, so for us to determine which are the unit types, what is the rough floor level for you to get, right? I also did a research and comparison between Lake Garden's 2-bedroom versus 2 plus study, because they have the same facing as SORA as well. So level 2 to level 2 for 2-bedroom versus the one with the study is the price difference is 1,009 versus 2,000 per square foot. So the price gap is 4%. Okay, whereas for level 10 to level 10, 2,000 to 2,001 price gap is 3.63%. So you can see over here, okay, there is not too much. There is actually quite a big jump, not too much. There is actually quite a big jump in terms of the pricing. But however, as we go higher in terms of the floor level, you'll notice that from 4.6 go to 3.6 and the higher level go to 0.35%. So if you were to ask me in a nutshell, right, today if you want to choose a 2-bedroom, okay, go for as low of a level as possible. Possibly that is around this level. Okay, if let's say today you are looking for a 2 plus study, okay, then go for something that is between here, because the premium is already marked up at the lower floors. Okay, but as high as you go, the difference is only 0.35%. That means you can go as high as possible in terms of the lake view. Okay, so two different pricing strategy. 2-bedroom, go as low as possible, not too low, go as low as possible, depending on how much is the price jump between here and here. Okay, but for the 2 plus study, go as high as possible because the premium has already been marked up at the lower floors. Okay, with that being said, I think the biggest struggle right now is when you go to balloting. Okay, you really need to be very clear in terms of how the pricing is. Today, based on how I discussed with you, developers price it in this way. But there will be a time whereby SORA's developer might want to price it a bit competitively and differently. So how are you actually going to make sure that you do not overpay based on the unit, or you actually, out of the so many units, be able to select the better units? This is something that you really have to be, I would say you really have to do your homework and get your agent to advise you on what is the good entry price for you to look at in terms of the 2-bedroom or the 2 plus study. So to sum up my overall 2-bedroom analysis, my first preference, if you're looking for an investment unit, then look out for the type B2 layout, which is the traditional layout. One of the things why I did not choose the B1 first is because B1 is a dumbbell layout, which there will be people who may not prefer such a layout. A safer floor plan will be B2. One of the other things about B2 layout is because the toilets also have their own individual windows. Okay, and like I say, if you have a floor plan that actually appeals to more groups of people, then this will also help you in terms of your resale price when you want to sell in the future. So if you're looking for own stay, then my top choice for the 2 plus study will be the B3S. Okay, one of the reasons why I actually picked this layout over the other is because there is no obstruction in terms of your balcony view, and because all the 2 plus study actually face the lake view, so that is why I feel that it is important for you to have a floor plan that would actually be able to have a more open view as compared to the one that is a little bit blocked. For the type B3S, there are quite a few stacks that SORA has, so I will need to go through review what are all the individual stacks. So the first one will be stack 2, okay, stack 11, stack 18, 17, 24, 23. 6 stacks, right? I have a preference for the first one will be stack 18, depending on the price, and then stack 2, and then stack 11. Okay, let me first explain why stack 18 first. So stack 18, right, it actually over here, okay, it faces the function hall. Okay, which means what? When you look at the show flat model, right, over here, let me use another color pen. Over here, this view, you might have a little bit of a block view for the function room area. So one of the things that you have to note is, right, the clearance to look and have an open view, more open view is at least 4th floor and above. But even if you are at 4th floor or up to 6th floor, right, I feel that when you go out to a balcony, you will still be able to see that function hall, the roof lah. The good thing is the function room actually looks very nice. I'll insert a picture over here in this space somewhere on top or something, okay, just for your reference. But however, because of this, maybe there is a chance that developers might price some units here that are going to be a little bit lower, okay. So if let's say, okay, the units between level 4 to level 8, for example, is comparison to to stack 11 and stack 2, then I will feel that this unit will be something that I will prefer first. Why? Because stack 18 by itself, there is no blockage. Apart from this function hall, the view is quite open, okay? As compared to stack 11 and stack 2, you will be able to see that there is a difference, okay? Based on stack 11, for example, your view will be a very straight view, okay? There might be a chance whereby you will be able to see this unit over here because of how the configuration is, okay? And the next one will be stack 2, for example. Stack 2 also, the view is here, okay? Your AC latch and your master bedroom is here, okay? But this view might be a little bit blocked, okay? So my first preference will still be 18. If let's say the price between 18 is very close to 2 and 11. But however, if in a scenario whereby you are not able to get, or the price is much more expensive than 2 and 11, then definitely go for stack 11 and 2, because you can still get a relatively open view without paying the full premium for example, stack 17. It's going to be very open, right? The full height view, 23 and 24. Okay, these 3 stacks are definitely going to be much more expensive as compared to stack 2 and 11. Moving along to 3-bedroom analysis. So for the 3 bedrooms, there are a little bit more different floor plans that we are going to look at. A total of 5 different unit types, okay? The first one will be the type C1. So C1 is actually the smallest 3-bedroom over here. There are only 22 units of such units, okay? The 3 bedrooms over here actually are located on stack 9 and stack 4. So actually they belong to quite a nice open view over here. So 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 936 square feet. To the floor plan, this floor plan by itself have pros and cons to the units, to this unit type. So where is it? The first thing is when you walk in, the kitchen over here does not have any window. So no window, maybe sometimes in terms of cooking, you might not be able to use you definitely will not be able to use your gas stove and wok hay, for example, right? But one of the things that can help in the kitchen, because if there is no windows, the kitchen is going to be very dark, is this is actually a glass wall. So when this is a glass wall, there is still light that can still come in from the balcony. Alright, so of course one of the now we talk about the cons, right? One of the better things about this unit is very rare for 3-bedroom today to actually have a flexi room. So this flexi room, when we call it flexi, right, it means that it is a very flexible layout. One thing that you can do is, first, if you need a storeroom, then this can be conceived as a storeroom. Second thing is, if today you require a bigger dining area, then this wall can be taken down to merge into your whole living space. So this whole living space will be a very big and spacious living area for you to enjoy. So just like what we have talked about earlier, when this layout is very flexible, then it will also appeal to two different groups of buyers. The first buyer will be the ones that really need a storeroom but cannot really afford to go for a bigger 3-bedroom layout. Okay, and the second is also those that would prefer a bigger dining area. Actually, do you all know the importance of having this flexibility in terms of the floor plan? Because, right, for buyers, this floor plan will appeal to buyers who actually still need a storeroom, for example, for their house, but yet their budget will not be able to stretch to a bigger unit, the 3-bedroom premium. Why? Because the square feet, the next square feet to jump to is 1098 square feet already, which means, right, from 936 to 1098 square feet, the quantum jump is at least about $300,000. So $200,000 to $300,000. So that is why for those of you who still have a budget to meet, right, I think this layout would be perfect for you, still comfortable for you and your family to stay, but yet still at a good price tag that is very, very affordable. Okay, but of course when they give you a flexi room, right, where do they compromise at? Actually is at the bathroom area. You can see a little bit of an odd shape for the common bathroom. The next thing that I feel that is a good thing is all the bedrooms over here actually faces the lake view. Okay, but of course for the common rooms, right, over here, they also have a AC latch in front. So when it comes to AC latch, it will mean that these 2 bedrooms will not have the full lake view because it is also a half wall, most likely. As for the master bedroom, you can see that the size is actually 16 square meters, very, very spacious, very, very similar size to just now the 2+ study. So for, like what I mentioned, today's square feet in terms of bedroom is about 12 to 13 square meters for a master bedroom at a 3-bedroom layout. But for SORA's developer to be able to give 16 square meters, I feel that it is a very comfortable floor plan to stay in. So moving along to the Type C2 layout, so just for reference, just now I was mentioning that just now I was showing you the Type C1 layout versus now the C2 layout. Actually, the square feet difference between these two is about 162 square feet, which works out to be around $324,000 if we are working on based on $2,000 per square foot. So today I would say that if you are looking at something that is more affordable, you don't really need that extra yard space and WC, right? Then the Type C1 could be one of the more affordable layout for you to go for that also still has a relatively nice view. Okay, in terms of the Type C2 layout, okay, we have stack 27, 14, 12, and 1. Between the 3-bedroom premium versus the next unit type that we are going to look at is the 3-bedroom plus study. I actually purposely put the Type C2 floor plan, which is over here. You might not be able to see it very clearly. 1098 square feet. Okay, and the 3-bedroom premium, which is 1152 square feet and 1163 square feet. Just want to show you and want you to take note of one thing, because just like what I mentioned earlier, over here it is actually the, I'm not sure you can see, over here it is actually the function room area. So do take note, today if you are going to look for stack 8 and 19, stack 8 and 19, stack 8, stack 19, okay, which is located here, Okay, these two units have to be a little bit more careful because you need at least level 4 in order for you to have a clearance over the function hall area. The main difference, if we just want to zoom down into the 3-bedroom premium plus study, is actually the foyer area. One has a shorter foyer and one has a longer foyer. I wouldn't say that there is very much difference in the layout because over here we can see that based on the individual room size is very similar. Common rooms all 9 square meters, study is 5 square meters. And also for this 3-bedroom premium, right, there is no windows in the bathroom area as well. One of the things that you will be able to notice is, just now remember that a lot of our study is actually merged to the master bedroom for the smaller unit types. Okay, for this 3-bedroom plus study, right, the study room is actually sectioned between the bathrooms, which means that this study can only make as one function, just for a normal study room. But one of the plus point is there are windows for the study area. So it is actually still a proper study and not a study corner. So take note, the study here is placed between the master bathroom. But for the last 3-bedroom premium plus study, right, you can see that the study area actually is located beside the living area, which is right over here. So same thing as what I mentioned over here. In fact, this is the show flat model unit. So when you go to the show flat, you'll be able to feel and see for yourself how spacious this layout will feel. Okay, so the study over here, one of the things that we can do, the first thing is, of course, if let's say today you would actually prefer a wide frontage living area. So with a wide frontage living area, you will also help to bring more light into the house. And second thing, it also help you visually feel that the whole space is actually bigger. Okay, the second thing is, if you still prefer your own study area, okay, then this space would still be able to retain as your own individual space for a study room. Just like what I mentioned earlier, just now for the previous layout over here, of course, I would say that there will still be people who prefer their own study space. Okay, maybe over here there are like 30 groups of people 30 buyers who still like this kind of space. But for this kind of floor plan, okay, this type of floor plan is people, maybe these 30 groups of buyers who still prefer their study, they will still like this floor plan. And a second group will still come in because why? This floor plan will still be able to appeal to them if they want a wider frontage unit. So when there is more demand towards your floor plan, then again, it will help in terms of your future selling price as well. So here's my verdict in terms of the 3 bedrooms. I have sectioned it off to people who really want to find something that is for own stay to enjoy, and also for those who still want to do so but have some budget constraints. Okay, so the first one definitely we will be talking about is type C5S. Why? Because the C5S definitely has one of the best layouts with the flexibility in terms of the placement of the study to increase the demand for your unit type, because this will appeal to 2 different groups of buyers. The first would still want the study, or the second who would want the flexibility of converting their living space into a bigger area. The other next choice, if let's say today based on C5S versus based on C5S, is a bit of a big jump in terms of your price, because right, based on C5S the square feet is 1195 and C3S is 1152. So my preference for the next 3 bedroom plus study, if let's say you're looking at, is type C3S, because type C3S has a shorter foyer and it is not much of a difference as compared to the type C4, which is shown over here. Okay, it has a shorter foyer, so definitely this will be my next choice. If let's say today your choice unit cannot be at C5, go for C3. My next choice will be the type C2 layout. Why the type C2 layout? First, we look at the 4 different stacks. It will be 1, 12, 14 and 27. So based on these 4 stacks, why do I prefer the stack 1 and stack 12? The reason being, right, over here you can see based on the stack 14 and 27, you can see over here that the master bedroom over here would actually be slightly blocked. Okay, same here for the master over here. The view might not be as open. You will still have a chance to see your neighbor. Okay, so this view might not be as open as compared to over here, which is stack 1 and 12. So I just draw the line to show you all. Okay, and for here. Based on stack 1 and 12, it will be my more preferred choice. So of course, on that day during balloting itself, there is a chance whereby stack 1, stack 12 is going to price higher than stack 14 and 27. If it's based on that, then you really need to reassess your numbers again to make sure that the premium that you are paying for is worth it. Like I say, if you're not so sure about how much is it worth to pay a premium for, do reach out to me, okay? The last thing we want to do is end up in balloting, not being sure of what we want to go for, and then end up overpaying or end up missing out on that unit that could actually help you to have a little bit more advantage in terms of your profits as well, right? So, of course, based on this, right, this is C2. Okay, it's the premium layout. The next unit type that you would want to go for is C1. C1 is the one that doesn't have the home shelter but yet has the flexi room, doesn't have the yard, and doesn't have the utility and the WC. So with that being said, you also want to take note of one other thing. Why? Because the type C1 layout actually has a very good facing. Let me just show you. I'm not saying that C1 is something that you can straight up go for. Because right, C1 also has a very good facing. Okay, in fact, it's the next good facing apart from the C5S already. Okay, stack 9, stack 4 is very good facing, unblocked view. So there is a chance whereby the higher floor units might be at almost the same price as the type C2 layout. So if that is so, during balloting also really have to jot down the numbers to see which one makes sense for you. Okay, I would say that as a whole, two things you need to compare. Okay, the first is between the two stacks over here, stack 1, 12 versus 14 and 27. The second thing is C1 versus C2. If let's say C1, the pricing is very close to C2, then go for C2. Okay, next one we are going to go for is the 4 bedroom. 4 bedroom and 5 bedroom actually are one of the lesser units in terms of SORA. There are only 18 units each, which means, right, for the 4 bedroom and 5 bedroom, only one stack each. Okay, so let us first look at the 4 bedroom first. Okay, if you look at the floor plan for a 4 bedroom, I would say that based on the size itself, 1,500 square feet is very, very rare in today's market. Today's market, 4 bedroom is about 1,300, high 1,300 to 1,004 square feet. But for a 4 bedroom, this is really luxurious. So walking in, you have by itself a private lift lobby. Okay, a private lift lobby. Okay, and you have a very nice frontage of the living room. This living room is 5.6 meters in terms of the frontage. So there are two different kinds of frontage when we are looking at properties. The first is a landscape format. Okay, this is what we call the first is the portrait format, the second is a landscape format. So there is a preference between these two, especially when we look at the 4 and 5 bedrooms. I have sold properties recently. I was marketing this unit at Criterion, 5 bedroom, unit, and it has a portrait layout. And I can tell you, the people who come in, they don't feel as wow. The feeling is not as amazing because the living room looks a bit tight. Okay, even though it is very, very spacious in terms of size, I think about 1,378 square feet. But if today this 1,003, the living room is placed in this way, I can tell you the feeling for any resale buyer when they walk in will be a very, very big difference, right? So back to where we left off. The floor plan over here based on the living and dining area is 5.6 meter. Actually, 5.6 meters in terms of the entire frontage is actually not easy to find in Jurong itself. Okay, the only downside for this unit, based on how I see it over here, is this. The bathrooms, actually, not all bathrooms have their individual windows. That is the only downside that I see based on the 4 bedrooms. Okay, but of course, walking in, apart from the living room itself, we have a junior master over here, about 10 square meters, a good size. Okay, and then based on the individual bedrooms wise, this is 9 square meters, 13 square meters only because of the walkway over here. Okay, but look at the master bedroom. Master bedroom actually about 17 square meters with a walk-in wardrobe. So this whole floor plan is actually a very, very grand, luxurious floor plan. Nothing much to complain about apart from the bathroom windows. Actually, do you know 1,500 and 1,600 square feet is the size of today some of the very, very small terrace houses? Yeah, but you probably might not be able to feel such openness in the terrace houses as compared to this, because this is a single floor plate with no wasted space. So everything is maximized, very comfortable in terms of the layout. Of course, in terms of the 4 bedrooms, there is only one facing, which is the Stack 25. Actually, from start to finish, right, I keep talking about the supply of the developments, right? But why is it important for us to know this? Because supply will actually help us to determine our prices in the future. So a lot of times we actually really think about the importance of having a good layout for 4 bed, because why? 4 bedrooms, right, usually people buy for own stay. And people who buy for own stay, right, it is actually very important for them to do so. Why? I give you an example. Recently, my friend, who is my very good friend, she is also a property agent. She bought Clavon. I think it's a 4 or 5 bedroom, can't remember. And she's sitting on very, very good profits. So as property agents, we are more numbers versed, right? And we us as a circle of friends always keep telling her, hey, you know, you're sitting on very good profits already, time for you to cash out so that you can swap for another property again and repeat the whole profit cycle. But then she keep giving us this reason, you know what, I waited 3 to 4 years for Clavon to be completed. I have been renting for the past 3 to 4 years. You want me to take my whole family, go out and rent again and wait for the next property again? I don't want to do that. I want to stay. Can I say that today, just based on my friend, who is also a property agent, even though she knows that the numbers make sense for her to swap to another property, she still don't want to move. Because, right, for 4 bedrooms, really is a lot of emotions involved. Today, a 4 bedroom is not easy for people to actually take it as a pure investment option, right? So that is why can I say that today, why is it important for us to look into the supply of a 4 bedroom? Because, right, can I say that today, for own stay buyers, they wait so long, they definitely want to stay in a unit like this. So when there is such little supply of units available, can I say that most of the buyers there, about close to 90, I would say close to 100%, they want to buy for own stay one. So when it comes to TOP, actually it is also not so easy to find a unit to buy as a resale buyer, correct? So most importantly, this is the number of supply in terms of the 4 bedrooms with a wide landscape, which means with a landscape format in terms of a living area. Okay, the first one you can see that in terms of 1,200 to 1,003 square feet, right? There are 83 units from Lakeview, 31 units from Lake Grand. Okay, and Lake Garden there's one, total 115 units. Okay, but if in terms of 4 bedrooms, in terms of 4 bedrooms, if you're looking for something that is about 1,300 square feet and above, okay, your numbers are further reduced. 11 units from Centuries, 38 units from Lakefront, 31 units from Lakeview, 3 units from Lake Grand, and then just 1 unit from Lake Garden. However, if today you are looking for a 4 bedroom with private lift, you only got 2 choices. First is Jayden, Lake Garden, and also SORA. All in all, in terms of your 2 neighbors, 37, 36 units, total of 73 units, over 1,003 square feet with private lift. Why am I actually saying this is because, right, when there is not many people that is willing to sell, will it also help you in terms of your price? Yes, right. So that is why when we buy into a property, right, one of the things that we want to look at is also in terms of the supply of units, especially in District 22 by itself. In SORA, there are only 18 units, and plus together with these 2 other projects which is surrounding, right, there are only a total of about less than 100 units that's available for sale. If 100 owners, I would say like maybe 95 owners are for own stay, 5 units for sale. Do you think it's easy for you to command a high price as compared to other unit types that has over 100 to 200 units for sale? Yeah, so that's why I feel that supply of units is one of the things that, you know, we can see from here in SORA as a whole. There are not much competitors in terms of when you want to sell in the future resale market. So just now I did a pricing strategy in terms of the smaller units. Okay, now I'm going to do in terms of the 4 bedroom. Okay, so based on 4 bedroom, we can see one thing. Okay, I also took lake facing versus a HDB facing. Okay, just like the example earlier, we can see that the price gap between the HDB facing and the lake view facing for the lower floor, second floor to second floor is 5%. Okay, sorry, okay, it's 5%. Right, I write over here. Okay, whereas for the level 10 to level 10 is 0.8%. Okay, level 17 to 17th floor is 0.7%. So from here we can see one thing. Okay, if you are going to pay a premium for the 4 bedroom, right, you are already paying a premium for the lake facing. So might as well, based on this, just go as high as possible in terms of the floor level. Because why? The price difference is only 0.7 to 0.8. Anyway, there's no point for you to buy the lower floor. Why? Because at second floor, at third floor, at fourth floor, you most probably will be able to still see some trees, right? So for you, I think a better floor level to start at would be a higher floor with a more unblocked view, since the premium is not too much. Moving on to 5 bedroom analysis, a total of only 18 units, so only 1 stack for the 5 bedroom, which is on stack 16. Most important for 5 bedroom, for it to look very grand, is the living and the master bedroom. So living area, we know that is a wide frontage layout, which is already very grand. The second thing we want to take note is the master bedroom. Have to place a lot of emphasis in that. Okay, so master bedroom is 18 square meters, one of the biggest size in terms of the master bedroom in the entire development. You also walk into a walk-in wardrobe. For the master bath, there is very important a his and her sink, okay, which actually adds an overall luxurious feeling, including the bathtub. So the 5 bedroom over here is actually 1,679 square feet. Very, very rare in terms of the current size. In terms of the 5 bedrooms over here, 5 bedrooms in the entire District 22 is not much. Okay, in fact, for 5 bedroom, only 35 units. And in the entire Jurong itself, 5 bedrooms with private lift, only Lake Garden plus our own SORA only makes up to 36 units in the entire Jurong. So there was once where my client actually asked me, 5 bedroom got people want to buy, man, but 5 bedroom so big, who will want to buy 5 bedroom? Okay, is there enough demand for people to actually want to buy or not? If there's not enough demand, then I'm very worried about the prices. What is exactly the impact of buying into a low supply area? Take a look at the first case study, which we want to look at is Treasure at Tampines. So in the past, Treasure at Tampines, when it was launched, right, there were quite a lot of objections in terms of who is going to buy Treasure at Tampines 5 bedroom. Who is going to buy such a big unit? And second, it was selling at $2 million. Who is going to buy a $2 million 5 bedroom? When back then, right, actually people have the choice of buying a landed, for example, right? But do you know that when you have a limited supply in terms of the 5 bedrooms, right? Technically speaking, you don't need a lot of buyers. What do I mean by that? Okay, take a look at Tampines by itself. The entire Tampines, okay, you can see that there is not much 5 bedrooms for available in terms of the unit types. Take a look at Modena, only biggest is 4 bedroom, Manhattan is 4 bedroom, East Point Green, 5 bedroom but only 8 units, and it's a much older project, okay? But Treasure at Tampines bring in 5 bedroom, 1668 square feet, 110 units. With 110 units in the development itself, in the whole Tampines, can you imagine that there are only 8 units for sale at this moment in time at today's point of filming? So even though we say that, actually 5 bedrooms, who will actually buy from us, right? But if we only have 8 units for sale, can I say that we don't need the entire Tampines to actually buy our units? We just need that 8 people to buy from us. And when that happens, actually, when there is only 8 units for sale, meaning what? These people, these buyers, these potential buyers that are going to look into a 5 bedroom, can I also say that there are only these few units to choose, and they will have no choice but to choose your units? Yes. So when it comes to this, right, I will feel that with a low supply, this is what happened. Look at Treasure at Tampines, their profits. Okay, their profits actually range from $584,000 to highest $980,000. In fact, right, $980,000 over the course of 4 years. Isn't it amazing? So last time people say 2 million, who will buy? Actually today people are already buying into close to $3 million for a 5 bedroom that is sub-sale unit at Tampines. Moving on, Marymount. Marymount was the next one. And when it was launched, right, Jadescape, it was actually launched at quite an expensive price. Okay, so the number of 5 bedrooms here, very, very little. In Xinmin Plaza, okay, there are 5 bedrooms. Other than that, in the whole entire area, there is none. The next available units, 5 bedrooms, are only 39 units of 5-bedder. So take a look at their profits as well. Last time when they purchased, in terms of the per square foot, was 1,600 per square foot. So 1,600 back then, if we compare now, of course it's cheap but back then the overall quantum for a 5 bedroom over there was already 3.1 to 3.4 million. So to give you some perspective, this 3.3 to 3.4 million, back then they can easily buy a landed. So a lot of times when there will be buyers who have asked me before last time, 3.3, 3.4, I might as well buy landed, who will buy from me? And if buy from me, how much will they pay? And if they were to pay, are they willing to pay a significant amount or not? Because for me to make a profit, I must at least sell a 4 million, 3.9 to 4 million, which was what has been achieved before. See all these owners that hold on, the holding period was only 3 years, but yet their profits range from $655,000 all the way to $1.12 million. Quite a good profit, right, for a 5 bedroom. So what am I trying to say over here? Actually, right, we don't have to appeal to most buyers, but as long as we buy into a property that is acceptable, that is livable, but yet at the same time has not much supply in that area, We just need to wait for those buyers who want this kind of layout to reach out to us, and they will be able to give us the price that we want just because they have not much choices. Are you also wondering, at 4.4 million to 4.5 million today, actually you can still get a landed in this area as well, which is true, because from here, right, I will feel that a lot of buyers will have this same mentality, right? 4 million, I can also buy a landed, might as well buy a landed, right? Yes, there are people who still prefer to buy a landed, and transactions have already happened based on this whole area. In fact, this area based on a freehold terrace, it was transacted at 4.388 million. 4.338 million, okay, in November 2023. But because of the rarity of the 5-bedroom supply in this area, okay, this is still sold at 4.55 million. So today, is it really true that the condo and landed prices is quite similar? People will always go for the landed, then don't want to buy the condo? Actually, no leh. In fact, last year I sold a bungalow for a owner who is quite old. So the reason for him to sell, right, is because he cannot afford to climb stairs anymore, and he doesn't have lift in his bungalow. Then what happened was he had to downsize, and the main criteria was we cannot find a landed because he doesn't want to climb any stairs, right? And the second thing is, if there is a condo, it cannot have any split levels, cannot have any steps, because for old age, like 70 plus, 80 plus, they cannot afford to climb up and down the stairs anymore. They have to, as much as possible, reduce the risk of having any accidents, right? For my owner, right, ultimately, we zoned down to a single plate, which is over 1,500 square feet, in an area that is sea view facing, and he don't mind paying a premium for it because it is his final home. So what am I trying to say over here? What I'm trying to say is there will always be buyers just like him who would want to downsize from a landed, or maybe who don't even like a landed but want a big space. Then these are the group of buyers that will appeal to units like yours, right? So anyway, just to say that it doesn't mean that we need to appeal to the most group of buyer today in terms of a 5-bedroom. But today there are this group of buyers who will definitely be attracted to a good floor plan that is unblocked lake facing, and these are the group of buyers that we just have to wait for. So the next thing we want to actually talk about is this. Notice that just now for the 4-bedroom, right, there is a private lift. Then I was thinking to myself, in a heartland area like this, especially so in SORA, right? SORA is Jurong. So does a private lift actually make sense or not for buyers today to buy into? And does that even make a difference in terms of profits or not? Is the premium that we are going to pay something that is going to be worth it for you or not? So that is why I will be using 2 case studies to actually share with you how it is actually going to impact you if today you are finding a unit that has a private lift. So 2 units that we want to compare here. The first one is with private lift, and the second is without private lift. Okay, so based on these 2 units, if we were to do a comparison, okay, I'm going to take these 2 units based on similar purchase date, okay, and similar exit time, which is both in 2024, between January 2024 to February 2024, okay, you can see that there is a much big difference in terms of the profits. Taking a look at the transactions over here, okay, the first transaction is the one that is with private lift, okay, the second one is without. In terms of the price performance, I only took 2 data that is based on similar entry timing, that means the purchase date, and similar exit timing. Okay, the per square foot for the purchase price is almost similar. Okay, but however, the one with private lift is much bigger than the one that is without. Okay, so in terms of per square foot, if we were to look at a big unit versus a small unit, right, it is quite natural for a smaller unit to always command a higher per square foot than the bigger unit. But take a look at the transaction over here. The smaller unit, right, actually commanded 2001, okay, 2165 in terms of selling price, which is 2.68 million. Whereas the bigger unit, which is the one with the private lift, actually sold at a much higher per square foot as compared to the smaller unit, commanding 3.38 million. So from this example, we can see one thing. With private lift, actually this owner can still have the chance, and it's already seen in the transactions here, that it is profiting more than the one that is without. Second scenario, which is twin view. So twin view is located more towards the west coast area. So this example, we are using same facing units, stack 6 and stack 2, both similar floor level. One is with private lift and the other is without. Take a look at the transactions over here. As you can see, the first transaction is the one that is actually the one with private lift, whereas the second one is without. As earlier example, purchase date is similar, period, exit also similar, okay, but the one that is with private lift actually profited at $843,000, whereas the smaller unit, which is the one without, profit $609,000. Same thing goes, okay, even though it is a bigger unit, but it is able to transact much higher per square foot as compared to the smaller unit at 2,100 per square foot. Actually, there are also two other case studies that I want to add on over here, which is Hougang. Okay, why I want to add on is because, right, actually private lifts tend to belong more to the Orchard area, to the town area where people will enjoy. So when it comes to heartland areas, right, there might be some concerns whereby, are people really going to accept a private lift in the heartland area like Jurong or not? Okay, so two case studies. The first one is in Hougang, Riverfront Residences. Okay, you can see that over here, the 5 bedrooms with private lift actually commanded very good profits, with highest at $756,000. Next will be Grandeur Park Residences at Bedok. You see the highest ROI for the 5 bedroom here is actually $850,000. The rest, I think it depends on the exit timing, which is a little bit lesser, but I would say that as a whole, if you are looking for a 5 bedroom, looking to maximize your profits, definitely 5 bedroom is something that you, if you want to invest in, is something that you must also have the capability to hold, to see, to test the market, to see whether you are garnering the best price possible in terms of your profits or not. This is the end of my SORA analysis. I hope you have enjoyed my video so far. The preview date for SORA is actually on the 22nd of June 2024. So booking date is on 6th of July. If you require advice in terms of how you on what is actually a safe entry price for each of your unit type, be it from 1 bedroom all the way to 5 bedrooms, do reach out to me at my contact number below. In fact, this is my contact number. You can reach out to me, and if not, I'll see you in my next analysis video.